Hello, good people. It's Rob Lee. A nation or an individual is completely annihilated if they will not speak out against corruption and evil. If the synagogue of Satan, bankers, murderers, rapists, thieves, liars, cons, preachers, politicians, media moguls, teachers, doctors, and all purveyors of evil can no longer be incarcerated or criticized for their lies and evil behavior, then where are we? You see, there will be no limits to the evil they will try to impose on the people. In effect, the river of truth will be as dry as a desert. I had a guy tell me the other day that he believed that fallen angels were living in the Antarctica or underneath it. And he surmised there must be something really big going on down there. I smiled slightly and said, well, maybe it has to do with the energy. He replied, what energy? I gently raised my eyebrows and said, there are tens of thousands of pyramids all over this earth. And they're not what people think. It's about energy, evil energy. He seemed clueless. And his response was, aliens have an advanced energy. I smiled on the inside and thought I'd shake his brain with some more logic. Maybe it has to do with the water, I said. He repeated my words back to me. I said, did you know that 75% of the Earth's entire freshwater supply is in Antarctica? He said, no, I didn't. I said, man, do you know what will be the hottest commodity on this earth when it all goes down? It's not gold. It's not ammo. It's not silver. It's not uranium. It will be food and water. Water. I seen the gears in his mind move. A large chunk of dust fell from his brain. His eyes crossed. He was trying to figure out what I had just hit him with. Now, before he could reply, I said, look, I got to go, man. Take it easy. I had no desire to educate a victim of the indoctrinated state. Not at that moment. Now, since that short conversation, I've had space, NASA, dinosaurs, evolution, and Antarctica on my mind. But I've also had something else on my mind. How did it begin? You know, with so many gross lies that accompany these subjects, they keep people turning like pimps in a police lineup. A 6-year-old little boy named Jake walks into any school in any white Western nation in this earth, and the first things that he sees is this. Number one, he's going to see a globe. Number two, he's going to see a dinosaur. Number three, he's going to see a picture of space. Number four, he's going to see a picture of all the races holding hands. Number five, he's going to see a poster that says Black Lives Matter. The stage is set. The indoctrination has begun. It will take decades to undo this demonic indoctrination from the same sadistic, filthy animals that pose as the chosen. The child will then have a teacher that will spend the remaining year teaching him or her to be ashamed of the way God made them. Welcome to school. The child is told to tolerate, accept, and even love all things that God hates. The child is told, you or her, you're bad for being white. The way God made you is bad. This child will spend the next 12 years of their lives being taught lies that will corrupt, taint, and hinder their minds and spirits, possibly for the rest of their life. They will be taught historical lies and lies about some of the most important truths that actually form our lives. They will be a slave in the school. They'll be afraid of being bullied in their new age love-all school. They learn to hold their head down and or join their peers in the new age culture of a crossbreed between ghetto and new age technology. And when the child goes home, the indoctrination continues through TV, the internet. And usually the parents are indoctrinated too. And they're too weak, scared, and ignorant to do anything but go along to get along. Go along to get along. This credo has become the mantra for white America. Let's just go along to get along. You see, the parents and the people reason in their fluoridated minds and spiritless bodies, if they go along, maybe they will just let us have peace. But they never ask the question of, who is it that you believe has this much power that they can allow you to have peace? You see, nothing ever changes. It only gets worse. The corruption of the people began from day one, but it really picked up speed. The volume was cut up in the 1960s, and it has intensified so much that most people today can no longer recognize the nations they once lived in. The word racism is a relatively new word. For example, 100 years ago, people didn't know what racism was. People didn't know what racist was. It was not used. You see, everybody to a degree was partial to their own people. It goes back to the very beginning with God. However, believe it or not, in the last 80 years, there has been a slow development of certain people teaching other people about this made-up word called racism and racist. And now it has become a word that is a word to use to silence truth. It is a word to condemn people if they speak out. Believe it or not, there was life, and even a good life, with just white people doing what white people do. In fact, here is a memo for the devil and the devil's children. Those white people that you hate so very much have survived and even thrived for thousands of years, as others were living in straw huts and using cow shit to hold it together. Castles and cathedrals dotted the landscapes all over Europe. Do you know who built those? Yeah, the Gospels were spread all throughout the earth. Men sailed from sea to sea. Crops of every kind stood tall and firm in the fields. The skies were blue. No nation or nations on earth could come up against Christendom. However, the blood that ran through those veins is now defunct in most men and women. They have forgotten what made them great. They have forgot what allowed them to prosper. They have forgot the very blood that pumped through their heart and into your veins was from God. The very air they breathed was a gift from God. When a man took up his sword or his musket, he did it with God's blessing. When he planted 40 acres to feed his family, he prayed over it. There was a time when children were taught to love your own people, and it was expected that you'd marry your own people. After all, it was what God told us to do. Today, this time-honored way of life has been defiled, and a New Age ghetto, one-size-fits-all agenda has invaded the mind and spirit via the internet, TV, Hollywood, and music every day and every night. Behavior that would have been outlawed and caused riots in middle America just a few generations ago is the new normal. And people put their hands across their mouths. They go along to get along. The people went down to the river, and they found out that the river was dry and no sign of rain, because the same system that they refused to speak out against now controls the weather. It seems like a famine of the truth is destroying the land. Do you understand what real censorship is? Real censorship, not the kind that we hear from people about, you're censoring me, you're doing this. No, man, I'm not talking about when you delete people's comments or you block people because you don't like them. That's not censorship. You see, most people don't even know what censorship is. I'm not even talking about the notorious YouTube and how they shadow ban and block and do all this. No, I'm talking about real censorship is when we ourselves censor the truth that comes out of our own mouths out of fear. That is the true core meaning of censorship, is when you are afraid to tell the truth, when you're scared. You see, the truth is always going to offend someone, and sometimes it will offend almost everybody. To corrupt the people, you must start with the children. This enables you to control the minds of future generations. This is what the school system is. However, to genocide a people, you must control the woman because she gives birth to the family. Now, using a massive propaganda campaign, the synagogue of Satan has reduced many young women to lives of shame and ruin for the way they look, talk, walk, and the clothes they have on their back. And as they tell you how bad you are, they will readily tell these same young women, we have the answers to make you look better, feel better, and be accepted by their society. Underline their society. And if a young woman is down emotionally, if she's depressed, if she doesn't understand, they'll send her to a state-sponsored therapist, as in the rapist, because that's what a therapist is. THE/rapist. The rapist. That's what a therapist is. You see, the word therapist implies the rapist. Mental rape. The young woman can join her mom on some new big pharma psychotropic drugs that will reduce her to a catatonic zombie and addict her for the rest of her life. The river's dry. Why is the river dry? Where's the rain? I'm asking you people, where's the rain? You see, the synagogue of Satan has used movies, politics, media, and the internet to convince women how unattractive they are. And even men. Everybody wants to be different. They want something on their body to be different. They want a nose job. They want a boob job. Everybody wants to be something different. They don't want to be what God gave you. You see, by convincing the people that you're unattractive, that you're not up to par, this leads to men and especially women, because women are a little bit more vulnerable to these self-esteem issues. You see, the merchants, aka called corporations, peddle self-doubt because they are the most inferior people walking this earth, bar none. If you're condemned by God, man, you are the most inferior thing going. Do you understand? People watch the TV, people watch their cell phones, and this beast tells them how to feel, dress, walk, talk, and even how to think. It tells them what is acceptable. This is another form of censorship. You see, you have people becoming creations of the beast system. Women especially will go out of their way to change who they are to be accepted and liked. It is censorship and slavery all rolled into one package. People will change everything about themselves to fit in or go along, only to end up depressed and in ruins. The enemy wants to annihilate the self-esteem and confidence of the people. They want you to learn to doubt everything about you. And in effect, when you are doubting everything about you, you are doubting everything about God. Because if you're made in God's image, how much self-doubt should you have? It's called paralysis by analysis. It's when we look at everything so much to the point that we go batshit crazy. Because that's exactly what the devil wants. They want you to stay inside, watch your TV, do not exercise, do not get out. They want you to watch your cell phone and let them create a narrative for you. It's slavery 101. The people are reduced to being rabbits going in and out of holes, searching for things that will never be found. The guy earlier that I spoke of, he's watching videos about aliens living in Antarctica. He knows nothing. This is his life. This keeps him and other people from ever asking the most important things in this life. I understand the anger that people have. I understand their pain. I'm a white man. I certainly understand. I seen a video 5 years ago of a couple of Muslims in Germany beating up a young boy on a subway. It hurt me so much that obviously it ran my blood pressure up, but it almost brought me to tears. Because what I wanted to do, I won't say here. It hurt me, but yet I understand this is going to play itself out. You see, the river's dry. The river is dry. I know folks have lost their jobs, that America does not produce anything anymore. America produces lies. People have lost their homes, apartments, businesses, insurance. And the cost of everything is rising, and the folks feel powerless. The men in this country have been demoralized and neutered. They've lost their balls. And I tell them this because I understand what men have become. Men have become boys, and there's only a few real men of God left. Men and women have become addicts. There are 100 million or more people who honestly believe that if Trump had won the TV show called An Election, things would be better. So you see, your enemy thrives on this mental control and idol worship. Your enemy in the last 175 years has put all politicians on stage. They are there to support and follow the agenda of the devil's family. They are there because they are all related by blood. Did you know that? All these evil people, man, are related, and they try hard to keep it in their family. Blood related. Americans put on red hats. They screamed a slogan and ran to the river to get some water. They came back crying, thirsty, and with empty pails. There are no slogans, no false heroes, or no hats that are going to fix this drought. In 1995, we had the Oklahoma City bombing of the Murrah building. In 2001, we had the direct energy weapons attack in New York City and D.C. Both were state-sponsored and controlled by a foreign agency overseeing the operations. What this did was it escalated the war on Bible believers, homeschoolers, patriots, gun owners, and anyone who is anti the system in any way. If you dissent, if you disagree, you must be a terrorist. That's what they call you now, terrorist. However, contrary to what most people believe or understand, the number one enemy is and always has been Jesus the Christ and the true followers of Jesus the Christ. They began calling us terrorists 27 years ago. I call them many names too, since my Father showed me who and what they really are. This is why I tell you guys all the time, I know what they really are. I mean, I know what they really are. Beyond, oh, are they devils or are they this? I know what they really are. And one day maybe I'll share it with you, but right now it's too much for many of you to handle. Because when I start telling you deep things about God, some of you don't like hearing it, man. It bothers you. I can tell it hurts you and it scares you and it messes up the reality that you have created. The river's dry. The people scream, but we need rain. Then if we need rain, stop living in fantasy and go in all humility to the one who can make it rain 24/7 anytime he damn well pleases. If you feel powerless, it's because you have not sought out the one who has all power. See Matthew 28:18. America and white nations have a choice to surrender your rights. You cannot speak nor can you act for the nation. Your rights, your freedoms are not from paper, man. Do you really think that the rights that make you a man or a woman to live this life in this world come from paper? They are not derived from local, state, or federal government agencies, man. Stop this nonsense about it's the Constitution. It's written in the Constitution. It's meaningless paper without God. It means nothing. Your rights and freedoms come directly from the one true living God. Do you think in the days when God's children walked this earth, there was papers that said, hey, this is why you have rights? They are inherently from God, unless you give them up. Let me clarify for the hard of hearing and or the spiritually asleep. It is God who gives, and it is God who allows evil to take and hinder. I know many of you don't like hearing that. It is the truth. And this is what we deal with in this ministry, truth. I would be remiss in my duties if I did not say, hey, white people, do you know who your greatest enemy is? Other white people. Let me show you how white-on-white warfare works. The synagogue of Satan has conned white men to fight their wars for 150 years, man. However, this is not as easy as it used to be. Therefore, a more evil and subtle tactic has been created. Modern medicine and big pharma companies proclaim they have saved the lives of millions upon millions and saved the taxpayers billions of dollars by cutting down on health costs through their cocktails of poisons, pills, and treatments. They claim they help prevent disease, when the fact is this: they instigate and cause disease, illness, and suffering. They make money from the same people they murder and disable for life. They poison us nonstop through the chemicals in the air, food, and water. Then they turn around and say, we'll make you better. You see, this is warfare on a different level. Yet I tell you that it is white people by the droves who support the same sadistic monsters that do this. It's the same thing with churches. The people will flock to churches and support the same people that are trying to kill them every single day. They raise their hands and scream, oh, we have to love them, we have to support them. This is the real art of warfare. But there's also something else bigger going on. The river's dry. The river is dry. There is no water. There is no water in the river. There's a famine. The land is dry. The plants are withering up. There are laws to protect the criminals in this country. There are laws that restrict or completely deny you the right to criticize anything evil. But it's completely okay to say anything gross or foul about Jesus Christ. It's completely okay to say anything about one particular race of people, white people. You are not allowed to say anything bad about anybody's religion or their false god. The only one that can be degraded is the real God and his son, Jesus Christ. That's it. There's only one true God. There's one. All the rest are liars and bullshitters. That's it. Now, why do you think it's okay to only criticize one? What is it about that one? Because he's the only one that's real. That's it. All the rest are liars, or hoaxes, they're cons. Are you so naive as to think that we're not living in the last hour? You better think again. You better check your watch. I don't think we are. I know we are. Now, I don't have the time nor the hour, but I certainly know the clock is ticking. The hand's moving fast. You are starting to see the true face of evil. The mask is being removed. The veil is being lifted. As I've said to you in many videos, I know these monsters for what they really are. Indeed, I do. Jesus said in John chapter 4, verses 23 through 24, seeing as how we're talking about white people's flesh, that we must live in spirit and truth to worship and please our Father. Can you think about that? Jesus Christ said that we must live in spirit and truth to worship and please our Father. And he went so far as to say in verse 24 that God, the Father, is looking for people to worship him that way in spirit. So maybe all this talk about flesh is meaningless. He also says in John 6:63, he says the flesh profits nothing. Nothing. Well, how can the flesh profit nothing? Because it's what's inside of you, the spirit, that counts. You see, your body will return to the dust. That's where it came from. Your skin, your bones, everything God created, it's gone, man. It goes away. You were born of water, but you will live as a spirit. Living in the spirit is living for God and the higher things of life. God says if you are friends with this world that you hate him. Is that clear enough? That God Almighty says, look, if you're friends with the world, you must hate me. Now, most of the white people walking among us are spiritless and not of God. So spare me any of the kumbaya uniting of the white masses, because it will not happen. Jesus Christ said in Matthew chapter 10, 34 through 36, that he came not to send peace, but a sword. He also said that he would put father, daughter, mother, he would put them against one another. And that a man's foes are going to be of his own household. He says in the same chapter in 21 and 22 that brother and mother and father will deliver you up to be murdered. And he also says that if you endure to the end, you will be saved. And most people really don't understand what that means, to endure to the end to be saved. Maybe we'll get into that later, what that really means. And you know, many who speak out against the system, they believe that somehow they're noble. Because they have a little bit of truth, or because they understand this, they believe that somehow they're better. You have to be honest with it and say this. Many white people today are a shadow of what white people used to be. They're a shadow of it. The vast majority of white people today, and there's like 800 million, maybe less, worldwide. Folks, the vast majority of them are godless, they're anti-Jesus, and they have not the Spirit of God in them. You see, the white river of a white spirit has been defiled and poisoned by other white-skinned people who were not of the white river. They are what Jesus Christ calls the tares in the wheat. White people have become the enemies of Jesus Christ. And if you are the enemies of Jesus Christ, baby, let me tell you, you are the enemy of the one true God. And if you are the enemy of the one true God, your ass is grass. It's just a matter of cutting on the mower. It is white people who support the synagogue of Satan and prop them up as chosen and special when they are murderous thieves. And some of these white people that say they're anti-church, you're the same way because you're anti-Jesus Christ. What do you think that there is a difference between you and them? You're all anti-Jesus Christ. People are finding out the hard way. And they will find out even more as the old clock starts to go round and round faster. Because God said that he would speed up time for his children. And you can feel it and see it now. And people are going to find out the hard way that when you go to the river to get water without Jesus, the river will always be dry as hell. In the Holy Word, we read often about trees, vines, fruits, and plants. Now, these are symbolic for many things. Sometimes they are symbolic for people and nations. Now, for all these to thrive and grow, they all need what? Water. They need water. Who is the water? What is the water? Jesus is the living water. Have you ever taken the time to look at a plant or the land when it has not seen water in a long time? I mean, it becomes parched. It's weak. It's dead. It's gasping for air. This is what white Western nations and those people have become because they have rejected the water in Jesus Christ. They have no water. Yet the devil's children in the book that many people deny called the Bible, they're described as being clouds without water. And in the book of Jude, therefore we see they're the same. You see, it doesn't matter if you're a devil, if you're an evil spirit, if you're anti this, or if you're anti-Jesus, you have no water, man. You're going to wither away and die, and you're going to suffer as you wither away. We've gone to the river today, and it will be flowing with Jesus Christ for all of your days. Drink it every second of every day, and let what will be, be. Come on. Listen to me. Your Father doesn't make mistakes. There has never, ever been a day, there's never been an instant in all of creation when the one true God said, oops, I made a mistake. Only the naive, the haters, and the fools believe such things as that. Go spend time with your Father in Jesus. Go sit by the river with your Father in Jesus Christ. When you do this, you will feel the love, power, and guidance of God. You will feel the love of Jesus Christ because your spirit will move. It will talk. It will move in you. You will feel God moving in you, man. When this happens, you will understand this is the right way. And you will understand that sitting with your Father in Jesus by the river is exactly where you are supposed to be. You go and talk to your Father in Jesus Christ about anything that is on your mind. There is nothing you can share that your Father does not know about or has not heard. Your God is all and always has been. And I'm going to say it again. Let whatever is going to come on. Because we aren't scared. Why should we be? And when you understand this and if you live it, then you can start to live a little bit. Then as Jesus Christ told the apostles, I want your joy to be full. Even in this hideous world. Because you get peace from it. You get a perfect peace. Isaiah 26:3. You can live in perfect peace because you understand God. You understand the Son of God. And you understand who's really driving. Who's really driving. So hey man, go sit by the river and talk with your Creator and Jesus. Hey, I love you all. I love you all. We are the one little family of the living God. If you need me, hey, you email me, you call me. I love you all. Jesus Christ is King. You hear me? Jesus Christ is King.
Gone.